Mike, I'm Dr. Terry Peace, and I'm a veterinary acupuncturist here in beautiful Hanover County, Virginia, birthplace of Secretariat and Patrick Henry, and home of the world-famous Hanover County Tomato Festival. My desk is located in a teeny tiny room inside my house, so I get to work from home. But my office is the great outdoors, and I have the privilege of riding around the countryside, being invited into people's homes and people's barns to take care of their animals and to visit with their families. This is my truck. It's fairly modest. You'll note that it is a Ford and it is still on the road. My favorite dog happens to be a golden retriever. And if you look back here in the back of my truck, you will find that I have some tools that you are familiar with. The stethoscope for listening to hearts, of course. I have the world famous thermometer, where we all know where that goes. And I have a few other odds and ends that you're probably familiar with. But one of the things that I do have that makes me different is a few things in my little red bag. I have a myostim machine, woohoo! I have some vitamin B12, and I have the little magic box. One of my favorite pieces of equipment, Murphy, come, is Murphy. Murphy goes everywhere with me, and as you can see, he's my co-pilot. So we're going to take Murphy and go out to the barn and visit with a horse named Trouble, who's having some chronic neck pain. And so we're going to jump in the truck here and see you there. Mike, we're here at the barn. This is Trouble. Trouble is a working cattle horse, and he's presenting today because he's having some pain in his neck area, which he is a pain in the neck anyway, which is why we call him Trouble. And we're going to kind of start here by looking at his sweet smile, and you can see he's sticking his tongue out at me and needs to brush his teeth. And we're also going to check his pulses here, which is part of the Chinese physical exam. Then I'm going to take this high-dollar piece of equipment and we're going to do a scan to see where this horse is painful. And you can see him flinching there, and you can see him flinching here in his back where he's hurting, and he's flinching here in his hips. Now, usually we would do an entire exam here, but we're going to go ahead and start by placing some needles to try to get some relief here. And this is where I need a world-famous assistant, and I also need somebody who's pretty good at opening all these sterile needles here. These needles go in, and there are certain areas, and as you can see, somebody has to pick up and keep up with the trash. See, the animals typically don't worry about it too much. So we're going to get all these needles in. Pause it. Okay, so we've placed a few needles, and now it's time for the magic box. Need a few more hands here. Here we go, Wes. Now, this is a big box, and it has electricity in it to the tune of a couple of C batteries. And basically speaking, this is kind of like a TENS unit, and we're going to hook the horse up and run a teeny tiny bit of electricity over his electro-acupoints. Pause it for a second. Now that we have Trouble all hooked up to the machine, we're going to make him into a Frankenhorse by stimulating the acupoints for about 30 minutes with a little bit of electricity to the tune of C batteries. And we spend the rest of the day trying to make sure that none of the wires come out and none of the needles come out. And trouble's a pretty good egg, so we won't call them too much of a trouble today. The next phase of the treatment, we're going to do a little bit of veterinary orthopedic manipulation. We're going to take this little hammer here, which is a little bit of mechanical energy, and we're going to block some pain gates here, and we're going to see just exactly where the horse is sore. You can see him flinch. You can see him chewing his cud because it feels good. Natural endorphin release. And you can see things change as we go down the body. You see him flinching a little bit. And what we want to see this time is to make sure that things change and they don't jump quite so bad in the same spots. Now, could be called beating some sense into something. So, we're off here now with my myostim machine. And what this does, it's a little bit of mechanical energy to help the muscles relax. And we're going to start here. You can see them get tight and you can see them relax. Good, deep, ooh-ah feeling. Our ultimate goal is to see the horse chew, pass gas, or leave us a little piece of road apple to tell us he feels better. We've got him chewing. And we'll basically repeat this and do this particular treatment for about 5 to 10 minutes to see if we can't get the muscles to relax. So it's kind of like giving him a deep massage here. This is just mechanical pressure. You can see this time he's much more comfortable when I make the pass. Now, after I do my treatment, and which will take me about another 10 to 15 minutes, what we end up doing is having a nice little chat with the owner about what he's going to do at home to help this horse feel better after I've been here. So I'm going to explain to Wes that he's got to teach his horse how to stretch just like any good athlete to alleviate some of these cramps. So we're going to start by see if we can't get the horse to stretch his neck out. And this is something Wes is going to have to do. We want him to stretch and stretch this way and come back. And isn't that just like anybody else? Doesn't want the yummy. You really are a pain in the neck, aren't you? One of the other things we're going to do is try to flex his belly by rubbing him a little bit, see if we can get him to arch up, which doesn't really work for him. And last but not least, Wes is going to get to do a few stretches. Now these are the world famous stretches that you see every athlete do. We're going to start with the front leg. Come on, big guy. And hopefully he'll give you a foot. Come on, big guy. Oh, come on, big dude. And they all participate in such wonderful manners. Okay, so we're going to start by just shaking his leg, stretching it out. Easy. Really good stretch. Bring him all the way out here, and then let him have it back. Now, Wes, you're going to have to do this 4 to 5 times every day, twice a day. We're just going to bring him out and really stretch him and let him go. Now, because this horse is also having some pain here, still, we're going to start by doing some of the same technique with the rear end. Are you filming? One of the things we're trying to do is get him to loosen up his muscles. And we're just shaking a little bit to open up the energy channels and ease up some of the tension in his pelvis. And so this is some of the things that Wes is going to have to do. Anyway, each treatment takes me somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes, depending on the need of each and every patient. And during that time, I get to be out in the nice brisk air, freeze, get wet, get pooped on. And then sometimes I'm lucky enough to go into somebody's home and get pooped on and peed on. So I hope we can get together, have a good time, do something a little bit different, at least come to Virginia and let us show you around. You good boy? What a face.